What's up, guys? How are you? Happy Thursday, Friday Eve. I hope all is well in your neck of the woods, because I know it's fine over here. And tonight, I got a special guest all the way from Canada. Whoa. Like, we're international. No, I've always been international, but either way, Canada's in the house tonight. So, you know what? Let's just get this going right now.
There's a system in place to keep us in chains. By a show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% try to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome. Derek, how are you tonight on this Thursday, February 20th of the year that is 2021? Man, about an hour ago I just got home from going out to dinner with my daughter. We went and got barbecue, and I've got the fucking meat sweats from hell, and it sucks. But you know what? It was fucking worth it because I got some good fucking barbecue. I had some pulled pork and some pulled chicken. It was phenomenal. Could not ask for a better Thursday. And the company was pretty good too, even though the 10-year-old that joins me to these dinner events is pretty fucking annoying. But hey, it is what it is. So anyway, woo! Thursday, Friday Eve. I'm glad you guys are here. Let's see. In the news today, signed into law yesterday, two fucking amazing bills out of Texas. One where now you don't need a permit or a background check to get a fucking gun in Texas. Isn't that nice? On top of that, this is a little ironic on my belief here, they also signed an anti-abortion bill to where if you cannot have an abortion after 6 weeks. So now you're gonna have a lot of pissed off mothers who don't need a background check to get guns, with a lot of fucking unwanted Texans, which there's already a lot of unwanted Texans out there anyway. So now we got unwanted Texans with mothers who don't want those unwanted Texans with guns that they can get them any way they fucking want to. That's America, people. Welcome here. Jesus Christ. But anyway, whoo. Tonight, my guest out of Canada is the drummer for a punk band by the name of Block Parent. They just released a new album and have got a bunch of cool songs on it. And we'll talk to him about that and so much more with the drummer from Block Parent, Zach. What is up, my friend? How are you?
I'm well. Got me craving some barbecue. I'm a brisket, pulled pork, smoked wing man myself, and I need some dinner. So, damn. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I mean, I had a nice pulled pork sandwich with some coleslaw and some Gouda mac and cheese.
Oh man, yes, yeah. I've been. It's summertime. It's like, is it time to get a smoker out back and trying to figure this stuff out myself? Because can't wait to get to the red. Up in Canada, we still can't do the dining thing with the state of the world. We're taking our time up here in Ontario, so I miss being able to go to a restaurant and getting a nice dinner like that. So got to figure it out myself these days.
Yeah, I mean, down here, every state is different.
Yeah.
We've been Virginia's been open for restaurants for a while, at like 50% capacity, stuff like
Right.
that. So I mean, going out to dinner hasn't been like a new thing to us in a while. So it's the novelty is hasn't worn off yet, because I mean we did lose it for a while, but
Yeah.
we've had it back for only so long, and They just removed the mask mandate here.
Right.
So it's slowly starting to get better, but yeah, there's nothing like going out to dinner and, eating on the patio and dousing yourself in some barbecue.
It seems like a million years away at this point. Yeah, we are still like masked, locked down, takeout, curbside only. It's strange times, but that's a broken record at this point. But happy to hear that you guys are finding some normalcy, I guess you could say, other than whatever the hell's going on in Texas. That sounds pretty wild.
Well, Texas was also the first to just say, fuck it, no more masks at all.
Yeah.
4 months ago or 3 months ago, whatever it was. And they were just like,
we're good.
Yeah, we're good. We don't care. And now they don't need permits or...
They can shoot the virus.
They can shoot the virus and apparently shoot unwanted babies, apparently.
Yeah, why not, right? Just shoot everything that gets in the way. It's why the hell not?
Yeah. So don't go to Texas.
Don't go to Texas.
I think that is the overall arching theme of that little 30-second monologue. Of don't go to fucking Texas.
Homework. Taking that one to the bank, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when you come to visit the States and you're, planning touring, Texas, no.
So we'll cancel the 2023 Texas only tour, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, fair enough.
So how is everything? I mean, I know everything's still locked down up there. Rightfully so. I mean, I still think we're being a little aggressive. Even now, we're still being a little aggressive with it because I think we're only like 50%, vaccinated. And y'all are even less than that, even though y'all have universal health care, which I find ironic.
Yeah, it's to be honest, like I've kept myself pretty, I've had to put a bit of a fence up for like, I don't know how much more I can be tuning into the mainstream news. And like, you turn on the mainstream news, you get one, you flick through social media, you get another. I really just try to control at this point, like, how is my home operating? How is my immediate like family and immediate network kind of interacting with the protocols?
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's still pretty tight up here. I'm in Ontario, Canada, so we're pretty darn close to the American border. But yeah, like, live music isn't happening. Your typical shopping, going out and about. No one's gathering in public places. Not much indoor activity whatsoever. Everybody's masked. Regulations around vaccinating are starting to pick up a little bit within different age groups and demographics, but it's still an absolute mess. I've been working from home since March of last year. No sign of going back to regular work, and just trying to make it work. So the fact that we've been able to keep some version of music and our band functioning and keeping some, hobbies and, kind of just lifestyle stuff intact, it's been nice, but for the most part, it's a total departure of what where I thought I'd be at this point in my life. So
yeah, I mean, especially now being up in Canada, I'm sure you've seen on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and everything else like that, all the freaking, festivals that have been announced down here.
Oh man.
I mean, so that even makes it probably worse, right?
Yeah, seeing every a friend of mine at work was just sharing like the Lollapalooza and all the big Chicago festivals that are coming through, and it looks like a typical badass festival summer or fall season.
Yep.
And it's just like okay, just it's just all just flying by. But it's, I don't know, on one hand it's exciting that like, okay, there's a sign of life, like someone is, they've got the paddles out and they're trying to resuscitate the the entertainment industry, the live entertainment industry. Like it's exciting to see, but it's also like, damn, I still feel like on our side of the border, we're a ways out from that. Like even in our local community, we were talking about this at practice just recently, but any place that would have been housing like a local punk show or a local alternative show, whether it was house venue, pub, club, whatever, I'm not even exaggerating, they're literally all gone. Everybody's lost their business or had to close up through COVID. So like, as much as it's exciting to think about, okay, maybe we're 3, 6, 8, 12 months out from like getting back to it, like what does that even look like? And who's left, or with the new business owners that have moved in, who's going to want to host punk rock shows, because we had a pretty good thing going up here in our region, and really hard to say where it's all going to land.
Yeah, I think that's the part of the the worst of it is the fact that so many people have lost their businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Joe's Hardware lost, their business and stuff like that. You know, but we're not talking about that specifically, guys. So don't at me. But I think the worst of it, as far as all the different independent music owners that have,
Yeah.
because yes, while Joe's Hardware losing his business maybe affects 15 people, when Joe's opera house can't hold 200 shows in a year, that affects 200 or more different bands, then concert producers and this and that and this and that. So it affects a lot more people. And that's why there's been, I mean, I don't know down up there, but down here, there's been such a huge push with, some of the major artists doing like Save Our Stages concerts or virtual concerts. They've been playing like Whiskey A Go Go and all these other places just to try to raise some money to keep these places afloat.
I feel like I've caught wind of some of those campaigns. It is a smart movement. I'm maybe a little tone deaf to what's been going on within the major Canadian music scene. I imagine there's been comparable campaigns, but yeah, that's especially when you participate in the underground indie scene, like it hits close to home, knowing that it like that ripple effect that the fact that the indie independent underground scene can't generate a network of interest that pushes to the big venues and shows. You have to wonder how many years it's going to take for a scene to recover from something like this. It's not like, all right, we'll bounce back within 6 months of everyone being vaccinated. It's like the damage that's been done is could be a generation's worth of musicians and young people finding music and being able to go out to all ages shows or going to their first like affordable local shows. And like it's really strange to think about a generation of that lost at this point. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, and especially for the local indie bands, and even some of these smaller major label acts, that still play the house club that down the road and just do 50 club tours that maybe hold 1,000 people. They're affected too.
Those are the best shows. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but that's my favorite stuff to go to.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got tickets in for November, October for a smaller major label band by the name of Ginger. They're a metal band out of the Ukraine, but they're based out of LA. So I got, they're with Suicide Silence, so it's gonna be a great fucking show. But cool. Again, that's a really small venue called Baltimore Soundstage, which holds 750 people.
Yeah,
it's places like that, that are being affected, and it really, really sucks because bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Slipknot and all the bigger ones, they're like, oh well, we don't have to worry about that because arenas aren't going to close.
That's right.
Huge
outdoor,
venues, yeah,
200,000 people at an outdoor thing, I think we'll be all right. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, not everybody's got that liberty.
Exactly. So when it comes time to where you guys can start touring again, or even here in America, starting to tour again for some of these smaller guys, it's like, okay, so now my local clubs are all gone. So now I got to hopefully be able to depend on my booking agent to get me on a major tour, or maybe the fourth, smallest stage at a festival or something along those lines, just to be able to get out and play. And that's scary.
That was tough enough when the scene was thriving for like a small independent punk rock band. So it's like, back to the drawing board now. I think that's been our attitude. Is like, back to the jam hall then, if no realistic opportunities to tour, play, or gig in any capacity, but at least fundamentally as a band, keep showing up to the hall, keep practicing, keep active as a band, and that's been, thank God we've had that at least, just sitting down on the drums a couple times a week. It's so necessary, and it's been at times literally illegal to congregate with the band, which is just fucked to even have to comprehend that band practice is illegal. Just weird on so many ways, but totally necessary. And I'd be curious to think what our band state would have been in if we just would have put a full hard stop on the whole thing through this whole timeline. Now I don't know what Block Parent would be doing. So you know, glad we figured it out in our own kind of safe ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And you managed to figure out a way to put out a full length album,
Right?
which by the way sounds awesome. I listened to it. It's phenomenal.
Thanks, dude.
It's a great fucking sound. Over the last year that I've been doing this show, and now at 204 episodes.
Yeah, congrats. That's not easy.
Thank you very much. And to where I've gone, where I started from, where I've gone in the last year is just absolutely asinine. I cannot believe it's gone that way. But one of the greatest things that I've done is, when I came into doing this, and it's kind of morphed over the time to where I'm just doing it like this now. But when I first started doing this again, or doing it like this, I had my blinders on to music. You know what I'm saying? When I got an email from a PR person, hey, let's talk to this rapper, or hey, talk to this hip hop artist, or hey, talk to this pop artist, I was kind of like, I don't know what to talk to him about. I don't know if I want to talk to him. And I did it anyway, and I still ended up with great conversations. But then once I kind of got away from that and started dealing with, the PR teams that I work with now that mainly deal with punk and indie and stuff like that, one of the things that I kind of have noticed is my tastes have broadened. Because I was that hardcore metal guy, that's all I listened to. I had my blinders on. I was musically bigoted. If it wasn't metal, I didn't listen to it.
Right.
But now it's like, oh shit, I'm rediscovering punk. I'm rediscovering ska. I'm rediscovering all these things that I listened to in the 90s that I completely had forgotten about as now a 40-year-old man. Like, shit, there's so much other good stuff out there. Especially the stuff that is neglected, like ska and punk. The stuff that is so quote-unquote underground, people have forgotten about it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Finding an outlet, like whether you are a musician or not, but like for me, like, kind of cracking open my musical respect or navigation, what for me was working in a music store. And so all of a sudden, over like a 3-year run, I was exposed to a ton of musicians, a ton of genres, what was coming on in the store, what people were coming in and talking about their inspirations, and really just like starting to study an instrument. So like if I wanted to, punk rock brought me into an interest in playing drums, but if I wanted to develop as a drummer, even just as a punk rock drummer, listening to drummers and other styles was so necessary. And so like, hitting my 20s and into my 30s, it's like I don't really try to pigeonhole myself now with like, okay, it's like punk rock all the time. Like it's absolutely still like a major function of my life, but I find myself almost like saving punk rock for like practice. Like I can listen to a lot of stuff in a week, and then I get my fix of like that fast skate punk that would have normally been my bread and butter. Like I'd rather do that live with my buds now. Like that's where I can get that. So when I'm at home, I could put on a playlist of God knows what decade and try different genres and whatever the family's feeling. But it all comes back, it all comes back at practice, or it all comes back in some way. But yeah, man, it's nice to keep your mind open. And the world of alternative and hardcore punk and metal, there's so many subgenres. It's so technical. Like you can't just saying that you listen to punk rock anymore barely means anything. It's like what decade, what genre, what version. It's like whatever. It's fast.
Exactly. I wish we could just go back to the days of punk, rock, and metal, and that's it. But then it's hardcore, and now it's post-hardcore and skate punk and deathcore and black metal and speed metal and thrash, and it's like chill.
My brother, also in Block Parent, will rhyme off various subgenres in the hardcore and emo space, and I'm like, what? like the certain genres that only come from certain states or areas of the country, so they get their own version of what their music is. Like this is wild. I'm like, I don't know. Like I just want to sit down and play fast.
Yeah, I mean, especially like Southern California, they have SoCal skate punk.
Yeah.
But if you're from anywhere else, you cannot play SoCal skate punk.
Absolutely not.
Even though you might sound like a band in Florida or Virginia or DC. No.
Hey, whatever works.
That's DC punk. No. We don't deal with that. No. SoCal. That's what it is.
Kids today. I don't know.
You know, when I was growing up in the 90s, that's not how it was. I mean, yeah, we had, you know, the ska, and then we had the emo. We didn't have emo at the time. We had, you know, metal, and then we had, you know, all the stuff from Seattle and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know, we had all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't as divided as it was as it is today, which
Yeah.
I find it a lot harder for a fan or even a band to find traction with all that going on, and I really don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was maybe one of the smart things that we were really like careful with when we formed as a band. You know, like we're definitely kids of the 90s. I was born in 87. Jacob, our guitar player, singer, songwriter, frontman, I think born in the same year. My brother Jake, born in 94, so a little bit lagged behind us. But you know, so we grew up in that grunge and arguably pop punk era. And so it's funny as a kid, but I wouldn't have known the middle, let's say like skate punk scene, the more like underground. I would have been hearing like the grunge hitting the radio and like the pop punk hitting the radio and like your Blink, Green Day, Offspring, but not knowing of like the full layer of stuff underneath. But so, you know, throw 10 years, 15 years of listening to and discovering punk rock on top of that, and then landing back in Block Parent a few years ago. And it's like, let's not get hung up on what to call this. Let's not be worried about like not wearing our references proudly. And it's like, you know, like if we all grew up listening to Blink and that's what's coming out now in our 20s and 30s, and fuck it, call it that. And it's fine. And like, let's not get hung up in the politics of what we're supposed to sound like, what this is supposed to be called. Like, it's Block Parent, it's fast, it's messy. If you enjoy it, thank you. If not, like, see you later. See you in Texas. But like that's all that's coming out. And I know that's kind of like an ongoing mantra of the band, just let it be, you know, like keep it fast, give it a style. But like, we still don't know what to call it. You know, it's fast punk, but I don't know what to call it beyond that.
I mean, that's all you can really say. Because I mean, again, I don't like the labels. You know, the only other time that I ever really had to deal with it was in the 90s during grunge. You know, if you like grunge, you only like grunge. You know, you like the Pixies and you like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and you know, all these other bands, but you didn't dive into, you know, the punk scene, or you didn't dive into the metal scene. It was just grunge. So,
Right.
you know, but that was about it. If you were metal, whatever else, then your Blink came on the radio, you're like, oh, this is kind of catchy, whatever, cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
nowadays it's just like, stop. You know, if you're a fan of the rock genre,
Yeah.
just listen. You don't know what you're going to find. I mean,
Yeah.
go in the Spotify top 25 and go, what the hell is this? Who are these guys? I've never heard of them
Yeah,
before.
fair enough.
Especially now, because now with all the other big bands not putting shit out, a lot of these indie artists on Wiretap and all the stuff that you guys are on and all these other places that would never have been in the top 25 2 years ago
Yeah.
are now in the top 25 because there's nothing else out there. So
Yeah, we
never
probably
know.
had a better run than we would have expected at our level as a band with our recent release. Like we've been very humbled by even just like, you know, the collection of people that have found it and have continued to listen after the first initial release, and getting to meet guys like yourself. Like, that's super cool, and arguably in a different version and in a different, you know, post-COVID, pre-COVID world, who knows who we would have been connected with. Would this have been a more isolated Cambridge, Ontario thing? But it's like, no, it's cool. It is giving indie bands that are still at the grind. It's people are finding it, and that's super cool.
Yeah, especially again nowadays with the help of Spotify and stuff like that. You know, it's not just, oh, we're just a Canada band, or we're just an American band, or just a Japanese band. You know, I talked to a band a couple weeks ago. That's again is another punk band by the name of Authority Zero, and they're big here, but they're even more huge in Japan.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
can tour Japan all day, every day, and sell out shows everywhere. But
Yeah,
then,
we'd love a slice of that. Japan, you can pick up Block Parent whenever you're ready. Or hey, hell, we would do the Texas tour if Texas picks us up. Like, somebody pick us up. Japan, anywhere, we'll do it.
yeah, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of Australian bands,
Yeah.
Australian indie artists, bands in, you know, punk bands in, you know, in Great Britain. It's like,
Cool.
you know, I would have never, you know, heard about these bands otherwise, you know,
Right.
and it's really, really nice. So, you know, if you're a band listening right now and you're like, you know, whatever, you can't think, okay, my little city here. No. You're no longer, there's no such thing as a local band. Yeah, you might be a local band to your people, But
Yeah.
you're just an indie artist because you can go worldwide with one good song on Spotify. And it just takes that effort. It takes that love. It takes that passion. And you can't think small-minded anymore. The moment you start thinking small-minded is the moment you fail, especially in today's climate, because there's so many other people out there that can do what you do. But then on top of that, there's a bunch of people out there that can't do what you do and are out there just doing what's popular on their computer, making beats and whatever else, and then putting it out there as fast as they fucking can. They could put out 10 different songs in a day if they really wanted to. So it's overloaded out there. But at the same time, the ones that are good are going to get through. And you just
That's a beautiful way of thinking about it, man. Like I've always carried a bit of a not a mantra, but just saying I've always reminded myself that any weird thing, like the worst movie you've ever seen is someone's favorite movie. The weirdest band you've ever heard is someone's favorite band. So you're absolutely right. You never know when that random song rolling out of what you identify as like a local band out of Ontario, Canada, could become someone's favorite record, and God knows where. And it's always one of the more exciting things to see as a small indie band when a record sale comes in from Japan or the UK or even down in the States. Because like when we are playing shows and when our local scene is thriving, that's where you typically expect to move your physical music. If you've got a record, a tape, a CD, a shirt, you're moving them at local shows. And that's always exciting too. But like, boom, like you see something come in, it's like that's someone we don't know buying something from another country that like we have no affinity with. Like that's always super cool to see. And kind of just it reminds you of that, like, hey, we're doing this for someone, and we don't know how we reached you, but thank you Spotify, thank you Bandcamp, thank you podcast, thank you internet, for helping it get it out there. So yeah, very cool. Oh, I lost your audio there,
Oh,
Derek.
that was me. That was me. I forgot to unmute myself. When you know, being here now in the States, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to ask you this question because I've asked this question a lot of people a couple months ago when things were still shut down.
Yeah.
What was the logic behind putting out a full-length album now? Why not do an EP or just a couple singles? Why do the full-length album now when you can't go out and tour it?
I think like the pace amongst Block Parent in regards to songwriting has always been, there's a lot in the tank. There's a lot in reserve. And thank goodness for that. You know, between Jacob, our frontman, guitar player, singer, songwriter, literally a songwriting generating, lyric generating, riff generating machine. And I think we just knew as a band, like the material was there. It was practiced to a point that we thought it was ready to, to hit record on. And we also, as a band knew that as soon as that collection was banked, we'd already be ready to start jamming and getting a new batch together. And we've already found ourselves at practice recently. Like there's already another 2, 3, 4, 5 tunes starting to take shape that in 6 months from now could be another EP. And the songs are ready. They felt organic and together. It felt like a fast, tight, cohesive, connected record. And it felt right as a band to have a substantial creative project where normally our time could be divided. Like, like we're all working our individual careers and jobs. I'm raising kids and dealing with health problems and stuff. Like we're all dealing with a lot as individuals. So normally when we've got that weekend warrior gigging schedule, it's tough to get together and work on a full length in the midst of all that. But all of a sudden our only band related commitment was like, show up, work on these tunes, and when they're ready, let's record it. And it gave us a focus. We had a great local friend to mix and record and bring it all together right organically in our jam hall, and it all just happened really naturally. And that's kind of how and why. It just felt like a good outlet for a band, for us as a band, knowing that we weren't going to be able to support it with a major string of shows or a tour, but get it out there, let people enjoy the music so we can kind of creatively move on to the next thing. So we're not just sitting on this for like 16 months and like stewing as a band. It was just momentum. I think it was a momentum thing in one word.
Yeah, because I think that's another thing a lot of people seem to forget as far as music goes. The fans forget that a lot of these indie artists, like you said, are weekend warriors. They have full-time jobs or they're working just a part-time gig just to be able to support their music habit. And they forget about that. So, it's more, I think it's more passionate. It's more, you can hear it in the lyrics sometimes, because they're trying to get to that point to where they can support their family, just off of what they do, and not have to worry about working their 9 to 5 and then going to band practice, and then working their 9 to 5 and then going to band practice, or working 9 to 5 and then going to play 3 or 4 shows that weekend and not being able to see your family all week. They seem to forget that piece. And I think that's another reason why, indie music, not the genre indie, the whole indie music scene as a whole, needs to be more in the public eye. Because there's a lot of bands out there that choose to stay indie the entire time because they don't want to have to hear that, the hammer from the big labels saying, hey, nope, can't do that. Sorry. Because I can only imagine some of these bands that are out there right now, as far as like the major label bands that want to go out and make a new album or want to go out and do this. And they're like, nope, you can't tour. So we're not doing shit. Sorry, sit at home, collect a paycheck.
It really just like, it's the fundamental concept of how most bands organically start is like, we just want to write and practice and jam and hang out because we're buds and we like the music with no expectation. Like there's no rules, there's no expectation, there's no agent, there's no label, there's no one asking us to do this. This is just us wanting to do this. If we had never played shows, if the band had no notoriety, if there was no identity as a band, we as a trio, as buds, would have just been getting together and writing music anyway. Like that's where it started. So like, COVID or not, we would have just kept doing that. So it's not like all of a sudden the pandemic hit and it's like, well, I guess I'm not a drummer and I don't like punk rock anymore. It's like, no, like I still really like those things. And it's not like before there was like a billion reasons to be doing it. Like in most instances, we are paying to play. Like we're throwing hundreds of dollars into a jam hall. When we're gigging, we're filling up our vehicles with gas. We're driving across cities. Like we're like it more times than not, you're coming home from a busy weekend of shows or looking at a month of like, summer shows as an indie band like us. And like, you're hoping you've sold some merch and physical music to have like broke even or put a couple bucks in the band bank. Otherwise you're paying to play. It's like you're paying to do your hobby. And like, but hey, no complaints. Like we know what we sign up for. It's beautiful when you can put a couple bucks in the band bank and save up and put out a full length. But like you can't expect that to happen. You practice, you write, you show up, and you see what comes out,
Yeah. I remember, years ago when I was a professional wrestler, or even back in the day when I was a gigging professional as well. You're right. That whole pay to play was definitely a thing. Like, as an indie wrestler, we would maybe make $50 to $100, and that's it. So even if it was 3 or 4 states away, you'd have to cram 3 or 4 guys and 5 guys into one car or van or whatever, just to be able to make sure that you kind of sort of profited a little bit and didn't rent a hotel. You slept in the van, you slept at rest areas or whatever else. And, that's just how you did it. And I think the people that come to watch you take that for granted sometimes.
Yeah. They don't know the full story and that's okay. Like, I've been on the other end of watching an artist or an entertainment thing in front of me that I don't know the full story of, but like you stick around, you watch, you clap, you respect, like I've always said that at local shows, that the greatest respect and payment that we can get as a band is like getting people dancing, man. If you're moshing, moving, getting into the music, I don't give a shit how far we drove that night. If we get back in the truck and we can drive home for 3 hours, like that was fucking rad. And like you see that guy that was flying around like that it's like, that's why we do it. I know that's cliche, cheesy, whatever, but like that fundamentally is like, when I look at my time in Block Parent over the past few years and what I might look at when I've got a couple 10-year-olds running around, like I'll be like, that will be the stuff that I'm remembering and relishing in, not like that time we made $60 in Ottawa. You know what I mean? Like I'll laugh about that, but like not, it really is the moments that you do it for at that indie level. Cause it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome to do it.
Exactly. Especially when you go to a place you've never been before,
yeah.
As an indie artist, and then you see a bunch of people that you never would expect to know you in your songs.
Yeah, that's right. That's an incredible compliment. Yeah.
That right there pays for itself.
Super cool.
It really, really is. So what's the plan now going forward? I mean, have you guys heard any idea of when things are going to at least start opening up at all? Or
I think we'll like in our province, and literally daily, we're starting to get new kind of phase in updates that all seem to be leveraged around vaccine numbers. So I don't think we're moving into like a live music type situation until most of like the adult targeted population is vaccinated, which I think if everyone registers and participates, and that's a whole other bag of cats, and who's going to, who's not to, in the conspiracy world around that, we're probably looking at least the fall before the general population has had the opportunity to register and follow through with it, which realistically puts us into like the winter new year
yeah.
before something might even start to make sense.
Now, is the border open to where you guys could book some American shows or no?
That's a good question. You never know that the way things are going. I haven't looked at border regulations in a while. Last I checked, it would be an absolute no-go. Post-vaccine, maybe, depending on what's happening in the Canadian music scene. For us, getting over to somewhere like Buffalo or into New York, well, I guess that would be Buffalo, New York. So same state. I'm just thinking New York has a lot to offer depending on what area you end up in.
Yeah.
But that it's always an option. It's something that we had like kind of loosely thrown around as a band prior. But I even getting over the border, and I've never really looked into it with all the regulations and the taxing and how that might even work, and the permits to do it.
Yeah, the visas and all that other crap. Yeah,
it could be a mess.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
But you never know over the course of the next year. I mean, things are. I think once that first, time a band in a state that just opened up plays that first chord of a song, and 550 or even like 10,000 people are at this place, or 100,000 people are at this place, I think everyone's going to start having this new appreciation for music, and in ways that I just don't think that they even thought about.
Yeah, something that was just always there. And I say it all the time with something like Niagara Falls. Like, we've got Niagara Falls about an hour and a half away, and it's like one of the wonders of the world. And like when you grow up around something like that, you see it all the time. You take it for granted because it's always there. But then it's like people come from all over the world to see this, and it's like Niagara Falls. So it's like music, that thing that you always thought was going to be there. It's like, yeah, remember that time we lost it for a couple of years straight? You can go, like buy a $13 beer and like hang out with your friends and watch your favorite band in a field or something. Like, that was all gone. So yeah, it'll be a beautiful thing when it comes back.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't miss about concerts is that $13 beer.
yeah, it's pretty outrageous.
Why can?
But no, for us, like with touring and shows, like not as a realistic thing to explore right now. We mean it when it's like it's just been great to get the music out, see if that finds an audience, and get back to work on the next thing, and like let that be an okay way to keep our band alive and keep us interested as musicians and friends along the way. And then, hey, when we're ready to play again, we'll have hopefully a real good set for everyone.
Yeah, and I love the name of the new album. Sick Year, Bro. I mean, it definitely engulfs everything that's happened over the last year, whether you're Canadian or American. It's been a sick year, bro.
It's been a sick year, bro. Yeah, a lot to unpack there for sure.
Absolutely. Dude, it's been a great time talking to you. I hope that this album does wonders for you guys. And I hope that, regardless of when or where you guys end up playing, I hope it all ends up, fantastic for you guys, because the album's fantastic. And I really, really hope that no matter what side of the country or continent you are on, you download this album. The links are down below. Please take a look at that. It's good stuff. You won't regret it. If you're a fan of punk in any which way, shape, or form, I don't care about the genre, punk in general, you will love this album.
Thank you, Derek. That's very kind words. Great to spend some time with you tonight. And thanks to your listeners for checking us out if you take a minute, and just for continuing to support shows and bands like us. And it means a lot. Thanks for bringing me on tonight.
Hey, no problem. And again, all the links for Block Parent is down below. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to see when they're going to be able to play again, or for all the updates on them. But again, also the link for to download the album is down below as well. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us on this Thursday. We had a fucking blast. Join me again tomorrow for another fun-filled edition of Suck It Podcast. But until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. We'll see you guys later. Peace.